Hey, it's Mark Andrews with episode 7 of OCFOA Plays of the Week. Hey, before we get into some new plays, I want to revisit a few plays from the previous episode. I had a lot of good comments on the video, and I want to just address some of those comments. So here we go. So this was the play that we discussed, the momentum exception, and I was just excited to find a play that where momentum might apply. And Mike Belika made a really good observation about this play. Mike stated, when is possession actually obtained on the interception? You have to have control and a foot down. The player's foot touches first at or inside the 2. That puts the ball at or inside the 1. There's no way I'm putting a momentum spot at or inside the 1. I will judge that the catch was not completed until the ball crossed the goal line and call this a touchback. So this is one of those instances where we apply rules philosophy, not just a hard and fast rule. I don't have any problem with what Mike is saying. Okay, and obviously this back judge ruled the same way. So use your judgment, use your rule philosophy in situations like this. At the same time, back judges know that momentum exception, okay? Understand it when it applies. All right, let's move on. All right, I hope you remember this play. This is the flagrant targeting foul on a scrimmage kick. It's kick-catch interference as well. Several people pointed out the fact that this play should have been killed the second R recovers that ball. Remember, R cannot advance a muff. The other issue here is that we don't have a beanbag where K made contact with the ball. Okay, and that beanbag would have helped tremendously in the enforcement of the penalty. Remember, that's what beanbags are for. They're enforcement spots. So back judges, get those beanbags down. All right, let's move on. All right, so this is the last play I want to revisit. And this one I kind of hate to even talk about again because I really don't know what the officials were judging on this play. But several people have pointed out that if one of these receivers who's trips to the right there is judged to be covered up, then the subsequent catch by one of those receivers would be illegal touching, and that's very true. I just can't speak to what the officials were ruling as far as who's on and off the line here. This looks to me like there are 6 players in the backfield. And if they're ruling that all 3 of those guys are off the line of scrimmage, then we don't have illegal touching, right? We have an illegal formation. So again, I can't get inside the heads of these officials who are doing this game. I can just show you what is glaringly obvious, that this can't be legal, either from a formation standpoint or an ineligible downfield, or even, in this case, an illegal touching. All right, let's move on. All right, quiz time. I'm just going to let this run. This is the opening kickoff of the game. Tell me if everything looks legal to you. All right, let's run it back. So we don't have any formation issues here. We're going to see a shift, but the kicking team has 4 kickers on either side of the ball. And I don't see any encroachment issues. The formation is legal. They're within 5 yards of the ball. You can see here. And this is not a pop-up kick, by the way, guys. This is a pooch kick, just to make, in case you can't see it. The ball goes beyond 10 yards. And is recovered by K. And we can see by the line judge's signal that he is awarding the ball to K. And if we go to the next play, we'll see that K indeed has the ball. Is that correct? Discuss. So did they get this right? No, they didn't. This should have been ruled kick-catch interference. Let's take a look at the rule. All right, so let's go to the rule book, and the rule that covers this situation is Rule 656. And 656 says, while any free kick is in flight, enter beyond the neutral zone to the receiver's goal line. So, enter or beyond the neutral zone. So, in the neutral zone means that restriction starts where the ball is kicked from, right? There's a 10-yard neutral zone there on a free kick, but it starts at that line, and it goes all the way to the goal line. K shall not, right, touch the ball or R unless blocked into the ball or R, or to ward off a blocker or obstruct R's path to the ball. Obstructing R's path to the ball is the typical thing we think of as KCI, but there's also restriction against touching the ball itself. And as long as it's in flight, if it's grounded, we have a different situation. But in flight, K cannot touch the ball, period. Okay? Now, this prohibition applies even when no fair catch signal is given, but it does not apply after a free kick has been touched by a receiver. Yeah, we know that, right? R touches the ball, it's game on, right? K can't advance the muff, but they can be awarded the ball. All right. There's some other exceptions here for scrimmage kicks. We're not going to talk about that. And there is a simplified and illustrated example that talks about this very thing. If you see it right there on the right, the kick, wind blows the ball back, K catches the ball, it's kick-catch interference. And so KCI has a number of penalty options. Get to know those. My guess is on this one, the receiving team would take the ball, an awarded fair catch, where K possessed the ball, and then tack on 15, 1st and 10 for R. All right, let's move on. All right, so we talked last episode and again earlier in this episode about momentum. Let's take a look at another play with possible momentum application. This is a kickoff. Okay, so what do we have here? Let's take a look at the rule again. So our previous play involved an interception. This play involves a free kick. But the thinking is the same. When an R player catches or recovers a scrimmage kick or a free kick between his 5-yard line and the goal line, and his original momentum carries him into the end zone, where the ball remains in the end zone and is declared dead in his team's possession or goes out of bounds, the ball belongs to the team in possession at the spot where the pass or fumble was intercepted or recovered, or the kick was caught or recovered. And that's the situation we have here. So the first question we have to ask ourselves is, does the receiving team gain possession of the ball between the goal line and the 5-yard line? And the answer here is yes. The next question is, does the receiver's original momentum carry him into the end zone? And the answer here is no. There's no momentum carrying this player into the end zone. He goes in on his own. He picks the ball up and runs into the end zone. So the ball becomes dead in the end zone, but he went in there on his own. This is technically a safety. This crew gave the momentum exception to the team. They were getting beat handily, and they just didn't want to pile on. This was late in the game. But this should have been ruled a safety. All right. I'm starting to think I'm a rules dork. I just got super excited when I saw this play, and I had no idea what the proper ruling was. So I'll let you take a look at it, and then we'll discuss it. So the issue here is, do we have ineligible receivers downfield on this play? So let's take a look at the play. Okay. Go back. Now this is just a screen pass. And the right side of the line is going to go downfield. And we judge players beyond the expanded neutral zone, which ends right here. It's 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, at the time the ball is released. You can see the quarterback is just getting ready to release it. He's released it there. We have one and possibly two linemen downfield beyond the expanded neutral zone. Okay, so if this pass goes beyond the line of scrimmage, then this is a foul for ineligible receivers downfield. All right, so let's take a look at the rule, and I'm not going to print out the entire rule. It's pretty lengthy, but this is the part that's germane to this discussion. It says ineligible A players may not advance beyond the expanded neutral zone. We already defined what that is, that 2 yards beyond the actual neutral zone on a legal forward pass play before a legal forward pass that crosses a neutral zone is in flight. So the part that's important there for this discussion is this legal forward pass that crosses the neutral zone. So a forward pass that doesn't cross the neutral zone, this rule doesn't apply. And so when does a pass end? That's got to be our determinant here, because it's touched behind the neutral zone, but is it still a pass while he's bobbling it? Let's take a look at the rule. All right, hang in with me here. I hope you can see how important our Rule 2 is, all our definitions. So, when does a pass end? Remember, this rule specifies that the pass can't go beyond the neutral zone. So when does the pass end? A forward pass ends when it's caught or touches the ground or is out of bounds. Okay, so what constitutes a catch? Well, the rule book tells us, I don't know why I can't get this. A catch is the act of establishing player possession of a live ball which is in flight. There's more to this, but this is the part that pertains to us. Okay, I've added the rule reference for that last definition, the catch. That's 2-4-1. A catch is the act of establishing player possession of a live ball. So when does possession occur? That's the key here. Remember, this guy's bobbling it. A ball is in player possession. A ball in player possession is a live ball held or controlled by a player after it has been handed or snapped to him or after he has caught or recovered it. So we have to have a forward pass controlled, possessed by the receiver behind the line of scrimmage in order for those ineligibles to be downfield legally. And we don't have that here. So after all that, this should have been a foul for an eligible receivers downfield. And I want to make one more point before we go. I'm anticipating your comments after I publish this thing. You're gonna notice that this receiver is, in the process of trying to catch that ball right at the line of scrimmage. Okay, he might even be a little bit beyond it. Now, here in Orange County, our philosophy is if he's on that line when he makes that catch, it's behind the line of scrimmage. Okay, so if you think that he would have been beyond the line of scrimmage anyway, refer to your instructional chairman, your rules interpreter, whatever, for this interpretation. But here in Orange County, we would consider that a ball caught behind the line of scrimmage. Okay, let's move on. All right, we're going to take a look at the actions of one of the members of the kicking team here. I'm showing this sideline view just so you can see that the play actually continues to move forward. Forward progress isn't stopped immediately. Look at it from the end zone. You're going to see what I'm concerned with here. So I want you to keep your eye on this player right here, number 9. Watch him. Okay, let's go back a little bit. All right, so he's coming in. There is forward progress, so we don't have a whistle yet. And he attempts to get the ball out with that punch. He's not punching the player, he's punching the ball. Second one, maybe that's a ball punch too. But these next 3, are not at the ball. And we should have a flag out on that for unnecessary roughness. Okay, so we can't let something like this go. And this was a very high tension game. These, two top teams in the state, and it was a close game. We got to control it. Cannot let action like that go. All right, let's move on. Okay, this one comes from Steve Cooper. This one will bring a smile to the face of any of you guys that are flank officials. Let's take a look at this play. Now, this happens a lot on long gainers, interception returns, kickoff returns, long passes. We get these guys running in front of us, right? And we're not going to put up with this, guys. Like Steve says here, this guy better not be in the restricted area or he's going to get a flag on him, right? Watch what happens. Whoop! Safe! So he's in the restricted area. We can clearly see that. This gets a flag every time. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to show you this is if this happened to be the second or third, restricted area violation, then we've got penalty yardage associated with it, right? The first one's a sideline warning. The next one's 5. The next one's 15. Okay, so the point here is that if we do have yardage, we are not going to enforce that from in other words, it's going to be enforced as a dead ball foul, just like we would enforce unsportsmanlike conduct fouls. Okay, this runner's at the 13 at this point. We're not going to spot the ball there and enforce the penalty yardage if there is any. It's just going to be enforced on the try or the kickoff. All right, let's move on. Okay, let's talk about snapping the ball. Something that happens on every play, right, except for kickoffs. So we kind of take it for granted until we don't. Look at this formation. We're seeing this more frequently. The center here is going to snap the ball to the side, and this is a legal snap. I'm going to just play it for you. Well, first of all, let me just play it for you, and then we'll talk about snaps. Here we go. Watch the center. Okay, so what's the definition of a snap? What are the requirements of a snap? Let's take a look at the rule book. Come on, you. Okay, so snap is a legal act of passing or handing the ball backward from its position on the ground. So that's one of the reasons that we have snap infractions when the center lifts the ball off the ground, he's begun the snap, right? That's why we don't let them do that. So the snap begins when the snapper first moves the ball legally other than an adjustment. So we allow him to adjust. We know this. We allow him to tilt the ball up, roll it, small adjustments, that's fine. Here's the important part. In a snap, the movement must be a quick and continuous backward motion of the ball, during which the ball immediately leaves the hands of the snapper and touches a back or the ground before it's touched the lineman. So the key point there is that the snap has to be quick and continuous. We're not allowing the center to pick the ball up and then make the motion backward. Okay, and that is what can oftentimes happen in this formation. When we have the ball going to the side like this, oftentimes the center will pick the ball up, 5-6 inches off the ground, and then begin this long arm swing movement to get the ball over to the back there. That is illegal. Okay, let's watch it one more time. This is quick, continuous. See that? There's no lift. It's right off the ground. Good job. Now, let's take a look at this one. Now, this is not a snap like this last one, but this shows you an illegal snap. Watch it. Okay, so let's watch. The center actually lifts up, and he's still got the ball in his hand, and then he sort of tosses it like a quarterback would toss on an option play to the side there. Okay, and he's actually moving his feet while he's doing it. So this is completely illegal, right? So we can miss this so easily if we're not concentrating. So umpires, referees, you've got to get this. You've got to be concentrating on that center action at the beginning of the play. All right, let's move on. Okay, so here's another action that we are seeing more frequently on tries in particular. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to let it run, turn off the annotations here so you can see it. Keep your eye on these guys right here. One of them is going to make an illegal act here. Watch. See that? Watch it again in slow motion. Okay, what did he do? It's this player right here. It looks like he jumps on the back of his teammate. See what Steve has to say. Whoop. So he says, we don't have a leverage foul in high school. I believe that's a college and pro rule. But regardless, we do have a prohibition against this type of action. And it's in the 943 rule. It says, no player or non-player shall position himself on the shoulders or the body of a teammate or an opponent to gain an advantage. And clearly, we see this player putting himself on the body of a teammate right there. Okay? Now, is this hurdling? No, it's not hurdling. And it's not hurdling simply because of his feet. Hurdling is an attempt by a player to jump, hurdle one or both feet or knees foremost over an opponent. And that's the problem here, is that we don't have the leg or the knee foremost. See, it's kind of a dive at this point. And the foot doesn't come down until after he's stepped through. But regardless, this is a 15-yard foul. Okay, this next example comes from one of my games, and I'm the responsible for missing this. My crew and I go exchange game film all year, and this is, these are my comments to my crew here. You look at the scoreboard. This game was well over, even though it's only the third quarter. These teams were mismatched. And I got to be honest, I think I just checked out on this. So let's take a look at the action here. Just let it run. So watch this guy right there. Let me turn off the annotation so you can see it without my notes. So he basically leapfrogs that guy. And clearly he's using the opponent's shoulders to facilitate this leap, right? So what is this? It's the same foul, only this time it's because he used the opponent, okay? As I state, we could it would be a foul on the defense, so they could redo the try from the 1.5 or enforce this on the kickoff. The coaches asked me if I saw it. They saw it, and I had no idea what they were talking about. Didn't see it. I checked out, and you can't do that. Okay, let's move on. All right, mechanics, guys. It's the foundation of successful officiating. Let's take a look at this play. All right, we've got a pass. Ball goes to the ground. We can see the referee is signaling incomplete pass. Now, look over here. That head linesman is signaling backward pass, and this is indeed a backward pass. I don't want to get any comment arguments here. I've reviewed this with the referee. He agrees this is a backward pass. So what we're talking about is not whether it's a backward pass or not, but mechanics. Let's watch it again in slow motion. Okay, Watch the head linesman. Signals backward. Now, the line judge is focusing on the action. Okay, he should have his arm punching towards the backfield. That's our signal for a backward pass. In our association, the flank official whose sideline the pass is coming toward is responsible for ruling backward pass. He can get help from his partner across the field, and that's what should have happened here. Subsequent to this play, the line judge here informed the coach that this was a backward pass. So he clearly just didn't execute the mechanics right, and I think that contributed to this call of an incomplete pass. And that's a big deal. This is a backward pass, and it doesn't matter if this is received, if it's bobbled, if it's a reception and a fumble. This is a live ball no matter what. Okay, a ball on the ground is live. And you can see the team in black there has a pretty darn good chance of going for 6 on this, and we're killing it. And I think this is largely in part to the fact that the referee is looking at the line judge, not seeing that punch, and he rules incomplete. Now, he should have let the line judge rule. Okay, that's his mistake. But, mechanics will save us, guys. So let's do it right. All right, that's all for now. Well, that'll do it for this episode of OCFOA Plays of the Week. Gosh, I really wanted to get this last episode out quickly. I had 2/3 of this done 2 weeks ago, and I've just been buried with instructional chairman stuff and couldn't get it out quicker. I apologize. This will probably be the last episode this season. I don't know if you guys want more episodes after the end of the season. Let me know in the comments. I'm planning on putting together some video with regard to specific fouls like holding, DPI, that sort of thing. It's going to take a lot of work to put those together. So we'll see what happens. But it's been fun. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, just click on my ugly mug there on the top right. And if you want to view any of these other episodes of the week, just click on the link on the top left. This is Mark Andrews signing off.